You have the skills. Time to move forward. Turn your knife and body into a power tool. See how easy it is to prepare vegetables for supper or snacks. Eat more healthy. Maybe get the kids to eat their vegetables. Freshly prepared food is always better and so much cheaper than pre-cut from the store. Come with me to the kitchen lab. Welcome back to class. Now recently you just learned about knife techniques and how to slice and dice. And now it's time to move up forward with the skills that you have. Now you need to understand that vegetables come in all sizes, long and cylindrical, round. Some are dry, some are sticky and wet, some are hard. There's just a variety of vegetables. So now we need to understand which technique to use on each individual class and its focus. So now, with just a little practice, I believe you will be surprised on how fast you pick up these skills.
I'd like to demonstrate more closely the three major moves of using a French knife in preparing vegetables. It's to your advantage to work with something that's long and cylindrical like a cucumber or zucchini. And what we're going to do is peel it part way because with the tough skin, it's harder to get it to go through. And for just learning the new skills, it's best to at least partially peel that cucumber or zucchini. I'm going to go ahead and pare off the two ends, the blossom scar and the stem scar. And you know what? You probably just saw me do something that's probably not the safest, is touching the blade with food. However, I've been doing this for a few years and have gotten into some bad habits. I'm going to split this because remember, anything flat has more control than something that's going to be round and moving around. Okay, the three motions are the draw, the slice, and the power tool. Those are not standard terminology, but as I've taught for over 12 years, I've found that those are more descriptive and easier to learn about in training. The first is using the blade with the fulcrum on the front, with the tip here, and this is what we call the draw. Now remember the claw on both hands. The one is easy to remember with the forefront of the knuckles in perpendicular, 90 degrees to the board. But then the one that we forget about is the claw on the actual French knife. 3 fingers on the handle and the forefinger and the thumb choked up on the blade. Doesn't matter if there's a bolster or a hilt. That first finger and the thumb are both carrying that. Because in a while we're going to be using that as a second fulcrum. The first fulcrum is with the tip on the board, and this is the draw. And what we're doing is using that wedge, the applied wedge, that's between the board and the blade, and then as it goes towards the actual fulcrum in the front of the knife. So I'm going to do it cockeye a little bit here, and we simply draw. And it's slow to me, but it's safe, and it's certainly better than what you see on television where people are doing like this, and there's no control. Remember, for safety, control is the key word. So that's the slice. Forefront, come back. The forefront is the fulcrum and draw back. Now the slice is actually an up and down. You'll see some people with a little bit of movement, but that's not necessary. The knuckles perpendicular, the second claw on the knife, and straight down is probably the fastest. The reason I'd like you to go straight down is because this is the leading motion into the power tool. And that uses basically the same motion, and as you get faster to slicing, you'll get more comfortable with where the blade is at and how fast you're going. Will speed up, but you see I'm not doing anything except slices in rapid succession. The power tool, the main difference is that we're getting a slight amount of actual rocker. That's why it's important for the knives to be balanced, as we talked about before. This is when you do this and balance it, there's a little bit of energy that you put in with the little fingers here, and it actually bounces against the board slightly, and you get that second motion is not completely free, but you have some energy that is transferred to the board and then back up, and you don't have to work so hard. If you're going to do 50 pounds of cucumbers, it's nice to have some help. So it's the same motion as the slice. With the slice, I'm only pushing down. When my wrist actually bounces, that's where our power tool comes from. After some time, you'll start getting used to the fact that the speed with which your knife is moving, countering the speed with which your knuckles are moving, can control the actual size or thickness of what you're cutting. As you can see, I'm drawing it back relatively quick, and I get slices that are relatively the same. If I decide to go faster, and remember uphill, we talked about that, okay? And the slower we draw back, and paper thin. All right, that's basically it. The draw, the slice, and the power tool. And someday you're going to get to where you can do this.